The following podcast is brought to you by Pro Wrestling Connect, Australia's newest choice for event management and brand development specialising in pro wrestling.
And now, the B Plus Wrestling Podcast. Watch global. Support local. It's the B Plus Wrestling Podcast.
The moves.
B plus.
Check it out! Here we go! You wanna mess with us? Cause we're steady on the ground.
Alright, ladies, gents, and non-binary friends, welcome to the B Plus Podcast. I'm your host, Greg Unchained. Today is Friday. You know what that means. It's Aussie Grapps Day. It's our favourite day here on the B Plus Podcast, the day we sit down and take a look at everything happening in the world of Australian professional wrestling. We also like to talk to an Aussie grappler or grappler adjacent person this week because I'm feeling particularly guilty about having some time off. I've got two interviews for you. Two. We sat down and spoke to my friend Todd Eastman. I'm coming off the back of a couple of weeks of just sort of focusing on myself and focusing on my mental health. And I thought Todd was a great person to talk to coming out of that because he has that wonderful episode with Wrestle Radio Australia that we've shared here before with Gino Gambino, Big Brody Marshall, and Wolf Dog from Riot City Wrestling, where they talk about these things. So Todd really felt like a safe person for me to talk to as I'm getting back into the swing of things, back into my interviewing life. And we went in with zero plan other than to have a chat about AWA at the end. And we shot the shit for almost an hour. So big interview coming up with Todd Eastman. And also Mr Myster1ous over in Perth decided to surprise me with an Adam Brooks interview. Adam Brooks, one of the guys I've wanted to get on the show for a long time. I've had Jonah Rock, I've had Robbie Eagles a couple of times, and the one man in the G3, the PWG3, that eluded me for a long time was Adam Brooks. I've had chats with him a lot. He references it when he's talking to Myster1ous. We've had chats a lot online, and anytime he was available to record the pod, I wasn't, and anytime I was available, he wasn't. It just kept falling through our fingers. We'll get there one day, Brooksy. We'll get there one day. But for now, Mr Myster1ous had a brief chat with him at the NHPW show, which he showed up at as a surprise. So we've got two interviews for you. We've got Todd Eastman of Wrestle Radio Australia and, of course, Riot City Wrestling, AWA, Venom Pro Wrestling. He's manager extraordinaire. And we have one of his first clients, the loose ledge himself, Adam Brooks. Before we get to that, though, let's take a look at this week in Aussie wrestling news. All right, so this week in Aussie wrestling news, this is a really tough one for me because it's actually been 2 weeks without an episode. I did record an interview with Maddie Wahlberg, who has been making news all over the place for last week's Aussie Grapps episode. I recorded that at the beginning of the week before I kind of fell off the map, but it hasn't been released yet. It's going to come out after this episode as a very special Maddie Wahlberg-centric episode. We're going to talk about Maddie Wahlberg entering the Coliseum. We're going to talk about Maddie Wahlberg crushing it on Survivor. We're also going to talk about Survivor and sort of do an impromptu Survivor cast that we just kind of decided to do on a whim, even though we know nothing about Survivor. We are wrestling fans, first and foremost. So it's a wrestling fan podcast about Survivor. That's coming out later with the interview that I did with Maddie Wahlberg. So all the Maddie Wahlberg news, that's it. That's all I'm not saying the name Maddie Wahlberg again on this podcast. You can listen to the Maddie Wahlberg show, basically, which is going to come out later tonight. But in more local news, I do want to talk about Jude London, of course, suffered a collapsed lung last week. I'm not sure the extent of it, like if it was at training or what happened, if it was something that happened in his personal life, but he did suffer a collapsed lung and had to get surgery. The surgery was successful, and he is, hopefully well on the road to recovery. Get well soon, Jude. Was really looking forward to seeing the match at Call to Arms, of course, but he filled in by Matt Diamond, and it was a spectacular match anyway. So, hats off to the PWA team for switching last minute and being able to sort of cover that. And, of course, best wishes to Jude London in his recovery. Something else big that has happened in the last few weeks, Pro Wrestling Darwin held their debut show up there at Brownsmart Theatre in Darwin. By all accounts, it was hugely successful. I've seen the highlight clip, obviously. I'm hoping the full show gets a YouTube release soon. I do remember when we spoke to the Pro Wrestling Darwin guys, they did say that's the plan, to go YouTube at least for the first few shows. So hopefully we'll get our eyes on Pro Wrestling Darwin soon, but it looked like a great show. There was some positive news coverage about it where they took it seriously. I'm a big fan of the attitude that the Pro Wrestling Darwin guys have taken and the talent that they've been flying in. Davis Storm left with the Shield for the Super Triad Series, the first winner of that, hopefully one day to be coveted prize in Australian professional wrestling. So congratulations, Davis Storm, on winning that one. And of course, Pro Wrestling Darwin for putting on a fantastic first show. Normally I talk about overseas stuff first. See, I'm all over the place at the moment. Tennille Dashwood has been signed by Impact Wrestling. Tennille Dashwood, of course, formerly known as Emma in the WWE. She's a huge star, homegrown here in Australia. She's gone through the WWE system. She was working in Ring of Honor for a while, but now she has landed in Impact, which is great because the Women of Honor division, let's be honest, it's trash. But the Knockouts division has always been at the forefront, man. And right now you got Tessa Blanchard, gearing up for a world title. A run at the world title with Brian Cage, potentially. So the Impact have always done women's wrestling well, and so to see Tennille Dashwood land in Impact is a very happy time for Australian wrestling fans. Hopefully we will get to see more of what she does. Hopefully Impact sticks around. They're having some troubles at the moment, but hopefully Impact sticks around and we'll get to see Tennille Dashwood reach great heights. I know a lot of people wanted to see her go to AEW. I think Impact is the right home for Tennille Dashwood at the moment. Very exciting. Also in international news, TJP coming to Australia. He's having a whole bunch of matches here for Wrestling Go, for I want to say Future Wrestling, for Suplex. I know Suplex definitely have him. And EPW, Hell or High Water, where he is taking on Damian Slater. Now, Damian Slater, of course, a round one loss to Tajiri in the Cruiserweight Classic. TJP went on to be the first winner of the Cruiserweight Classic. What would have happened if Damian Slater never fell to the mist? We're going to find out. Damian Slater, TJP, one-on-one, alternate final for the Cruiserweight Classic. Very, very excited to see this match for Hell or High Water. I can't wait for that one to make tape. Speaking of classics, Will Keatis had a video come out this week. Now, I'm a big fan of Will Keatis. I love what Will Keatis does. And he's basically done a news show, very well produced, highly entertaining for the full 4 or 5 minutes of it. And he's redubbed the Ewan Monkley Memorial Cup that they're having in Wrestling Go to the Gooberweight Classic, and predicted who would win, who would lose, who the biggest goober is, because of course he's going to win the cup. But he rebranded it the Gooberweight Classic and let the losers be the winners to become the biggest goober. It's hilarious. You got to watch it. There's so much good promo content coming out at the moment. So stuff I haven't even talked about, like Avery with her Prison Break video that she did. You got the Lux Girls doing the Border Patrol stuff that they've done. There's so much really good video content coming out of Australian wrestling at the moment, and people just pushing it and taking it to new levels, cinematic levels. And I love that shit. I am here for it. I'm all about it. So shout out to all the people in Australian wrestling right now that are pushing the promo game forward. I'm loving it as a fan. I'm sitting here just salivating, just being like, yes, what's going to happen next? Sell me, because I'm loving this. And I'm also loving just how much wrestling there is to watch. Right? FWA dropped a show on YouTube this week. My backlog is ridiculous at this moment. I still haven't gotten to the last Wrestling Go. I did manage to get to SPW and MCW Southern Rumble. Brilliant show. Slex vs. Marcus Cool in the main event. Must watch stuff. Of course, the tag match as well, with Travis Banks and TK Cooper taking on the Deadly Sins. Man, it's a hell of a show. You got to watch this show. Also dropped just before recording this, MCW Ballroom Brawl is now available on the MCW Encore service. Wrestle Rock is available on the Encore service. Call to Arms, which I watched live on OVO Play, is available for replay. There is so much Aussie wrestling to watch. There is no excuse to not be across all of it, really, because other than time. Time is the only excuse you can have, because there's so many good matches on these shows that people need to get around and watch. Of course, MCW Ballroom Brawl saw the return to Australia of Adam Brooks, one of our guests today. So let's go have a listen to Adam Brooks having a chat with Mr Myster1ous, and then I will come in with the chat that I had with Todd Eastman, and I'll catch you after the interviews with what else you can listen to this week and what's happening near you.
legend. You know it, smooth like a tiger, mind of a poet. I walk tall and I
This is Michael here at the NHPW Arena. I'm coming to you after a big Lethal Consequences show, and I'm joined by the Loose Ledge, the greatest legend of all time, and Adam Brooks. Thank you for joining me.
What's going on, man? Thanks for having me. It's been a long time coming, getting on this bloody podcast. I know Greg has hit me up and we've tried to make it work, and then I've been in Adelaide, and then he's been busy, I've been busy, so I'm in Perth doing it with you.
Back in Australia now, how does it feel?
No, it's good to be home, man. So I was away in America for 3 months, just doing my thing, having a bit of a wrestle all over the joint. Mm-hmm. And then, I've been back for 3 weeks now. So, I got back 3 weeks ago. And it was good, man, to just, come home and just do nothing wrestling related. Because obviously the ballroom brawl surprise returning at MCW and stuff.
Very big, yep.
So, they're like, let's just make it a surprise. And I wanted to come back and just chill out and do nothing for a few weeks. Mm-hmm. Hang out with the family, dogs, all that. It's cool to be back in the swing of things,
Sensing a theme here because you were a surprise person here as well for the show.
Yeah, dude, I hit up Mana, I was like, hey, I'm back, I'm back. Yeah. And then I'm doing MCW, I'm not doing nothing this weekend, so if you want me to come hang out, whatever. And he was like, yeah, absolutely. And again, he was like, oh, we're going to, we want to make you a surprise, so don't plug the show or anything. So it was, I'm just rocking up everywhere as a bloody surprise lately.
Yeah, absolutely. You're one of the first, one of the only Australians to go to the Crash. So of course, Craven as well. How was that experience?
Dude, the Crash was cool, but the Crash it opened up doors for me at CMLL, which is so random, because Mexico to me was never a huge goal of mine. I never was I have to go wrestling Mexico, Mexico's a bit scary from what you see. But when you go there, man, it's fine, I felt. Mm-hmm. But, man, I was doing the Crash management or officials, whatever, they saw me at PWG a year ago, and they hit me up to come over. So they said, when you're in the States, let us know. So I was at the Crash 4 times, and then that opportunity with the CMLL, dude, that was nuts. They emailed me, they're like, hey, are you available May 3rd, I think the show was, and we had a Crash the next night. I'm like, what are we doing? Are we doing double Crash shows in Tijuana or something? And they're like, no, CMLL want you. I was like, oh. Okay, that's pretty big.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're like, yeah, it's in Arena Mexico. Do you know where that is? And I'm like, oh yeah, I've heard of it. And apparently Arena Mexico is big.
It's a big deal, yeah.
I don't know, you have your Corrigan Halls, your MSGs, what's another big one?
2300 Arena.
There you go, ECW Arena.
Yeah, ECW, yeah.
And then there's Arena Mexico.
Yeah.
And when I walked in there and saw the place, I was like, oh, okay, wow, yeah, this is pretty big. I think it's a 16,000
at least, yeah.
Something arena. Yeah. So I think it was from memory, it was half full. So yeah, dude, that was a sick experience. So just crazy, man. You do your match and then you get pulled into all these bloody rooms. I went into 3 different rooms doing all this media stuff. And I'm just standing there and they're saying all this media stuff in Spanish, and thankfully I had
translator
Mecha Wolf, Mr. 450 next to me, and he could translate what they're saying, So no, dude, it was a really cool experience. I'd never experienced anything like it. As soon as we walked out the venue, there's fans everywhere, and they hound you. These girls are screaming, "Oh, photo for my son!" Blah blah blah. Dude, it's crazy. It was a cool experience.
When I have talked to a bunch of Australian wrestlers and asked about some of the people who are changing the game in the industry, pretty much all of them mentioned Adam Brooks, and just wanted to ask, what is your advice for Australian wrestler who's striving to just make their debut interstate or overseas and just be the next Adam Brooks, I suppose?
So it's always very flattering when I hear that, and it's cool. I think my advice is you have to live, eat, sleep, and breathe wrestling. So I was extremely lucky because I was brought in by a guy called Matt Silver. Obviously, everyone knows he's gone on to WWE now as Buddy Murphy.
Yes.
And he's the one that's kind of he got that into my head, sort of thing. Like, you want to be a wrestler? Okay, look the part. You know, I'm not a big jacked up dude, but like, do your best, look the part, look athletic, tan, good, get professional looking gear. You know, like, like I was an apprentice, and I mean, I probably should have paid more attention while I'm trying to learn this apprenticeship that I was doing. But at the time, everything was wrestling. Oh, I'm not coming into work tomorrow, dudes, because I'm driving 8 hours to Adelaide just to wrestle for nothing, just for an opportunity.
Yeah.
You know, like, you got to do those things, man. And I understand, like, a lot of dudes get comfortable here, and they stay here. Man, I love it here. Yeah. Believe me, if I could just hang out here, make a sweet, comfortable living, like, you know, I'd be pretty sweet with that. Yeah. But you're not going to move forward in this if you're comfortable. You got to get out of your element sometimes. You got to go overseas and try all this different stuff. So, yeah, man, just eat, sleep, breathe, wrestling, everything during the week. Eat clean and, you know, try not to drink and go out and partying and all that stuff too much. Like, I have friends that I don't know how they do it, man. Like, some of my boys, they drink and then they can wrestle the next night. I can't do that. No. I can't do that, man. You know, let me eat and be all nice during the week, and then let me enjoy a pizza on a Sunday night or something.
That's a challenge in itself. Jesus.
Yeah, man, but just be passionate, you know.
One of the things I asked everyone as well is, what do you think? Why do you think Australian wrestling is on the rise, and why should people be paying attention to what we're doing?
I think it's on the rise because a lot more people are doing what I just said. They're passionate about this. They eat, sleep, breathe wrestling. Everything's wrestling. And I understand people have jobs and all of that outside of this, but I think the ones that really put everything into it, you know, like a Robbie Eagles or a Jonah or myself or something, it's somewhat paying off for those sorts of dudes. So yeah, I mean, people like to say that we're currently in like this boom period or something. Yeah. And like, I don't know, in a small way we are, but like for the past 3 months, like I've been an outsider sort of looking in. Yeah. And it's kind of been like, like, are we? Like there's certain things that I'll sit back and discuss with Matt, and I'll be like, and he'll be like, this is what's stopping growth. Yeah. Like he feels that it's at a certain point now where it's kind of like, I don't know, like stagnant. Like we're just cruising in the one spot. Mm-hmm. Like we had the boom with the whole Osprey deal and the whole New Japan deal, and you know. So yeah, I don't know. I personally hope he's wrong because I want to see this place keep building. Yeah. But yeah, like when everyone, I've heard other interviews and stuff, and people are like, yeah, Australia's going to be like England in 5 years, where we're wrestling every day of the week. I mean, that'd be nice, but we'll see. There's certainly a lot more places popping up. Absolutely. Dudes are earning more money. Yeah. Dudes are wrestling more than once a month. You know, we'll see. Like, we can only see what happens.
Who are some of the standouts for you? Like, you go across the country. Like, who are the ones to watch out for, like, in the next couple of years, I suppose?
Loverboy Lockie Hendricks is going to be sick. Yep. Dude, I love that kid.
Game Changer, yep.
Yeah, the Game Changer crew, they're a good bunch of dudes. Taylor King, Matty Wahlberg, Brat Pack, they're all good fellas. But I think Loverboy, he'll be the one to sort of break out next. Mm-hmm. He's a cool dude. He'll come to me with questions and stuff. I try to help him as best as possible. I think if Brat Pack were to ever kind of go their separate ways, I really think Mitch Waterman will sort of flourish.
Mm-hmm.
He'll be like a real good, like in-ring, like a workhorse, like
Yeah.
he'll be like a Robbie Eagles or like someone like myself sort of thing. And then like, you know, the big sexy unit, Nick Berry, like I love that kid. I think he'll break out and do some really good stuff in other ways.
Yeah.
You know. And who else is there? I think Matty Wahlberg's going to be good. Matty Wahlberg, his promos are sick. I watched him wrestle last week at MCW.
Yep.
He was in a 3-way with Dowie and TK Cooper.
Yes.
That was sick. Man, there's like, dude, the dudes at RCW in Adelaide, they're doing good stuff. The guys at ACW in Adelaide, they're doing good stuff. Man, there's people all over the joint. Mm-hmm. Like even some of the chicks, like I've seen Avery getting a little bit of buzz.
She's beloved over here. We try and get her all the time. Friendly girls,
she's a cool bird. So like, man, she's sort of blowing up a bit. So, dude, there's plenty of talented people here.
I just want to ask, what was one of the hardest lessons you learned, like breaking into the business, and who are your inspirations just to keep persevering and being on this incredible journey?
Man, I think one of the hardest things is probably like the people outside of wrestling that will sort of give you shit and stuff for
investing,
putting on bloody spandex and fighting dudes each weekend, you know, like when I was a young apprentice, like I used to cop a lot of shit, you know. Oh, you going to wrestle blokes and you should be picking up chicks and all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. Well, dude, now I'm traveling the world. Who's laughing now, man? You know, like they're still putting glass in holes. Yeah. You know, and I'm in Perth right now, wrestling.
Yeah.
You know? So that was probably one of the biggest aspects. And then inspirations, dude, my best friend is over there. Yeah. You know? Like he's killing it. Like as much as he annoys me and stuff, like he's like a big brother. Like he motivates me a lot and he helps me a lot. He criticizes me a lot, which is annoying. But you have to be able to take criticism from a dude who's made it, you know. Yeah. And then just dudes that I grew up watching, you know, Jeff Hardy and stuff like that. And like just seeing how much the business has changed, like all these, I guess, smaller guys like myself are getting opportunities. Mm-hmm. I think
you had Rogan Cargos get the opportunity to face you tonight, of course.
Yeah, dude, he was a good dude, man. I enjoyed wrestling him. He's going to be good. He's going to be good. He's still very new to the game, but man, a bit more time, a few more years, man.
Aptly named like part of the Future Legends group here, so
that's what he's in.
Yeah, there you go.
Cool name. Fuck, I should have come up with that.
I think I just asked, like, so you're just like, you're killing it all across the world at the moment. Like you're in MLW, you're at Crash as well. What are your goals for 2019 and just like go move forward, I suppose?
Man, just keep doing my thing, really. Yeah. Like, so many people's goals are, they're like, oh, I want to get signed somewhere, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, that'd be sick.
Yeah.
We'll just see what the future holds. You know, the main thing is just continuing to be happy and enjoy what I'm doing. You know, and I'm having fun, man. Every weekend I'm traveling somewhere. I'm off to, where am I going next weekend? I am going to Sydney next weekend for IWA. Mm-hmm. I'll be wrestling Mick Moretti, which I'm looking forward to. We've never wrestled. We've never wrestled.
Okay.
He's unique. I'm unique, so I think we'll be a nice little gel of styles. That'll be fun. Then I go to Queensland the weekend after, August 10th, for AWA Homecoming. Mm-hmm. I'm in the open weight tournament for the new open weight belt that they're bringing in.
Yes.
So that'll be fun. I'm working with some dudes that I've never wrestled before, guys like Sebastian Matters and Xander Sullivan. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that'll be fun. And then yeah, man, back to RCW, and then the big one is August 31st at MCW when I wrestle Slex for the MCW Championship, a belt that I've been trying to get for 9 years.
Multiple time Intercommonwealth champion, champion. Yeah, it's been a journey.
I've done everything there except the MCW title. So August 31st, I will win. I promise, I'm gonna win.
We look forward to seeing that happen. So thank you so very much for your time.
Thank you for having me, dude. I hope Greg is happy that I'm finally on the podcast.
He's going to get a real kick out of this.
There we go. Shut up.
That's all right. See you later, guys.
Cheers.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Hey guys, just a reminder, if you want to hear all of these wonderful B Plus podcast episodes completely ad-free, make sure you head over to Patreon or Podbean, where we are the featured podcast this week. You can subscribe for as little as $1 a month up to $10 a month, where anything you want to help us with, it really helps out. It's going to help us grow the site. It's going to help us redesign some things, and everything that we get through this and through the advertising as well is all going straight back into the podcast so that we can get Aussie Grapps out there for the rest of the world to hear about, for the rest of the world to see, so we can grow this mission of watch global, support local, and build indie wrestling. So if you want to be a part of that and get some really cool rewards like call-in shows, bonus episodes, ad-free like I mentioned, then head over to patreon.com/theb+ and subscribe today. Hey everyone, just want to take a second to tell you about one of our new sponsors, OUTBREAK NUTRITION. OUTBREAK NUTRITION are creating supplements for survival, sharper minds, quicker reflexes, all the energy you need to take your performance to the next level, whether that be on the field, in the gym, on the gaming field. That's right, they have specifically designed gaming supplements as well to help you focus on those late night sessions. They even sell coffee, you guys, at OUTBREAK NUTRITION. You can get coffee pods, you can get coffee beans, you can get supplements for the bedroom as well if you want to enhance your performance there. These are performance enhancing supplements for every aspect of your life, specifically designed by gamers, for gamers, to stay fit and healthy in the gym, to stay sharp and focused on the game, and to dominate in all areas of life. So check out OutbreakNutrition.com, and for being a listener of our podcast, they will give you 10% off your order when you enter the code B+. That is BPLUS at checkout. So make sure, if you want to stay on top of your game, if you want to take your performance to the next level, OutbreakNutrition.com, enter the code B+ at checkout. Alright, joining me now by the magic of the internet, provided our shitty Australian internet connections hold up, Todd Eastman, host of Wrestle Radio Australia himself. How are you, man?
How are you, mate? How dare you besmirch the good name of the internet?
Australian internet? Good name? I don't know, man.
Well, I don't have any problems with mine, and I get to watch. Well, I used to get to watch the WWE Network all the time, but now it's like,
Are we going to get our first view from the East, our first Eastman rant here on the B+? Are you going to?
No, but I told you that it annoys the shit out of me how they've changed the way they've changed it to make it so it's not like I've got an old Apple TV. And I was fine when I clicked on WWE Network and it said this is no longer available on this platform because it was an older generation, and obviously they've gone up to 4K or whatever they've done with the network, and that was cool because I could still send it from my iPad to my TV or my phone to my TV.
AirPlay.
Yeah, it was fun. It's pretty much how I watch Foxtel Go, is by doing that.
Right.
And this new update now, you can't even do that.
Yeah.
Like you can, I've worked out last night, you can do the whole screen share thing, but it's still not even full screen on your TV when you do that.
Yeah, if you do the mirroring, it comes up weird.
Yeah, it's still smaller. Yeah. So I was like, that's something that they need to fix. Because, I mean, I don't mind the new setup for it. It's nice and it looks all good and all that. But just not being able to stream it to your TV, I think is a terrible move in their part, and I hope they fix or find the update to fix that real soon. Really,
see, my TV has a WWE Network app on the TV, so I haven't looked at it in the last few days. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, well, I had one friend to go, "Oh, it's working fine," and I said, "Well, don't update your app, whatever you do."
Yeah. That's it's pretty frustrating when they do that, but we wanted to talk. I know you wanted to talk AWA Homecoming. That's why you're here. You're going to do the shill thing, do the plug thing. But beyond that, I'm glad we talked about WWE Network for a minute or two at the beginning here, because I have zero plans. I have a loose structure that I normally do with my interviews and everything. But I mean, you and I talk. We talk when we're not recording. We talk, and I've been having a rough couple of weeks. Sort of thing. I mean, people listening to the podcast know as well, because I've dished about it, like not like personal details or anything, but I'm just like I'm struggling at the moment. I've had. Are you familiar with spoon theory? I've had not many spoons lately.
See, no, I'm not aware of the theory, but I do understand somewhat what you're talking about when it comes to that.
Well, I know you've done the big episode and stuff over at Wrestle Radio Australia, which we've aired here as well on mental health issues and stuff. And I like to be open about this stuff anyway. So if the interview, if I don't do my job as an interviewer here, I do apologize, because I've had a rough couple of weeks and I thought, we talk enough, we can probably just shoot the shit and we'll figure out a way to make it work.
It's all right, mate. As a manager, I'm used to putting the other person first, so it's fine.
As a manager, there's a good place to start, right?
Yep.
Why? I mean, everyone I talk to, wrestlers mostly. I mean, wrestlers and wrestler adjacent people. That's the gimmick. That's the line. But you're a manager. There's not many managers in wrestling these days. You're a rarity.
I am, much to the detriment, I think, of wrestling as a whole. Because I think makes for a more entertaining show when there's more of those types of characters. And that wasn't what I wanted to do when I first started. When I first started in wrestling, I wanted to be a wrestler, just like everyone. But I started very late, and it sort of my body was telling me that you're not going to be a wrestler, mate. And that was half shattering to me at the time, because I'd worked so hard training to try and get there. But luckily, but just me being a smart ass as I was at training, and always having something to say, and just like a funny line or whatever, Chris Basso, I pulled Chris aside and said, look, man, because it's a point where I just kept getting injured. There was one thing and then another thing and then another thing. This was over the course of a year of training.
Yeah.
And it just...
So your body was telling you no, but your mind was telling you yes. It's like the reverse of that song.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to wrestle so badly it's not funny, but my body was telling me, look, mate, you're 38. You really didn't look after yourself for the first 37 years.
So you started real late, because I know I felt like I started late when I started training at 25.
Yeah, no, I was 36 when I started training.
Okay, wow. And you started, and that was at the RCW Academy here in Adelaide, yeah?
That's right, yes. Big Brody Marshall and I were friends before wrestling. His cousin and I were really good friends. And all of us just happened to go to the first UFC in Sydney. The UFC 99 or 90, I can't remember.
Yeah, the first one they came out here for, yeah.
Exactly. And I went down with a mate from my work, and my friend Miller went down with his cousin and a lot of their friends.
I think Sydney's technically up.
Yeah, well, yes. Well, now I'm in Queensland, it's down, all right?
Right, because you're in Queensland. Okay, gotcha.
So it was sort of the thing where, like, I'd message Mills and said, look, mate, let's catch up for a beer because we're both in town, find somewhere nice to eat, all that sort of shit. And that's where I met Big Broads. And just through talking, found out that we liked wrestling. And I happened to see a Facebook ad not long after we'd gotten back from Sydney for Riot City Wrestling.
Right.
And I just happened to put it on my Facebook going, anyone keen to go and see local wrestling for? I'm not sure what it's like. I just want to check it out. And he slid into my DMs, if you will, and said, "Yeah, I want to check out the show." So we went to their first wrestling show was Riot City. First live Australian wrestling show was Riot City Wrestling, and then I think within 2 shows we decided we wanted to start training. He was well ahead of me, because you look at Brody and he's not quite been in that shape, but he's always been in really, really good shape. And
he's somewhat of a physical specimen.
Yes, he was. And I'd only really just dropped the weight that I had, because I was really, really heavy. I was about 135, 140 maybe kilos. And my housemate decided she was going to get me into shape, and she really helped me, and I dropped down to about 100, and I was feeling really good. So I was like, that's it. I'm going to get into, I want to do this. This is what I want to do. This is cool. So we started training, and yeah, my body broke down. Within a year, my body had broken down. Just kept little things all the time, like pulled muscles, and then I tore my bicep, and that was the end of it, really.
And so whose idea was it to let you be a mouthpiece?
Well, originally it was Cree. This is before I'd even started wrestling. The idea originally was that I started as a commentator, because it was taking a while for me to get onto the shows, which is cool. I understand. I don't think a lot of people realize now that you should have to really work to get onto a show. And I started as a commentary, and the idea was rookie guy from the academy as a commentator eventually moves into a match because he says something on the mic and a heel gets upset and all that sort of jazz.
Good angle.
Yeah. But unfortunately, my body said, no, terrible angle. Don't do that. but we kept going. I think I'd been commentating for about a year with Josh, and then I think there was one show we did a footy show at it was like a thing for a club, and I was sitting there, we were commentating, and I looked at Josh and I said, this really has nothing to do with storylines, does it? It's not really furthering anything we've got going, so anything that happens here is fine. He's like, yeah, not really. I said, oh, okay, well, I'm going to be a heel commentator for the night. I'm just going to be like, because I was like a face color commentator.
Right.
I was like, I'm just going to Bobby Heenan it up all night. Just say some stupid stuff and
just for fun.
Yeah, just to see.
Just pop on yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Because no one's really paying much attention to the commentary here. And like if they go to a normal show, they won't realize anyway. It probably won't matter. So we'll just have some fun. And I think the boys noticed it. And noticed the how well it sort of worked. And sort of said, how about we move you into being a manager? First Josh had his go at being a manager. He did the whole evil GM gimmick, and he was good at it. And so when he did that, I took over as lead commentator for a while at RCW with Luke.
This is before evil GM was overplayed.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a while ago.
Yeah, but with Josh, his heart just wasn't in being a bad guy.
Right.
He was just naturally a nice person. So naturally, I'm an asshole. So it works out well.
Well, I'm glad you said it.
Yeah, well, you have to own it. It's the first step of recovery.
Yeah. And so who was your first client? Was it Basso?
Well, technically, my first client was Dean Brady at a Supernova.
Okay.
We did
there you go.
We did the Supernova shows, but my first actual client on a Riot City show was Adam Brooks.
Was Brooksy?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
That started that whole big angle.
Yeah. Is this back when he was the loose cunt?
I think it might have been around then, or maybe.
Am I allowed to say that? Is he going to get upset if I say that? Are we striking that from his history?
No, I think he's fine with it. If he's not, then okay. the intro to my show for the last couple of years has been a bit.
You censor it though. I won't censor it.
Yeah,
I've got the explicit on iTunes.
Yeah.
So
we have it too, but I don't know why Josh did it, because I think we're looking after him.
Fair enough.
But no, I think it was in between that. At the time, he was already the I think he was the Warzone champion and also the MCW tag champions at the time. And that was the first night I managed him. Was the night he became the RCW champion, because we did
nice, and so of course that was all credit to you.
Of course. That and a hardcore match beforehand that we just decided to cash in our key to the city or unlock the key to the city. That had nothing to do with it, but it was strategic planning from old mate.
Yes, strategic planning from old mate Todd
Eastman. Old mate Todd Eastman. I say that, but like Brooksy helped me amazingly. Like just watching him work from starting, because you can't imagine the nerves that I had being like, because I'd been the commentator for maybe 2 years by that time. So I was fairly comfortable out there in front of people on a mic and all that stuff. But that was just commentating matches. That was watching matches and commentating them as they go. That wasn't actually being in the match, being the focal point, not the focal point, because a manager is never a focal point. He's always there to shine a light on the guy that's in the ring. And my job was to make Brooksy at least a little bit hateable, because he's just a very likable guy.
He does have a very affable personality.
He does, and my job was to try and take that away as much as I could. So,
well, you did a good job because he was over as hell as a heel when I first started going to RCW shows. So yeah, because it did work. Luckily, the chemistry between the two of us worked. But I was so nervous because the first proper match I had managing him was a main event at RCW against Big Matt Basso. And I was just the Viking Grim.
I was just quietly shitting bricks backstage. And Brooksy looked at me and he's like, "What's wrong with you, champ?" I'm just like, "Well, let's face it, mate. There's you, there's Grim, and there's me. There's only one person that's going to fuck this match up, and that's me." So, because the two of you are amazing. So the only person that's going to screw this up in any way, shape, or form is this guy. Nah, you'll be right. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Is
that your Brooksy?
Yeah, it's terrible, but it gets under his skin.
You got to do the laugh for us. Do the Brooksy laugh.
Well, see, when I do that voice, I always get the back at me. So it's.
Oh, that's good.
He'll fucking hate me for that.
That's so good. You know what, too? I'm putting an interview with him on the same episode as this that Mr Myster1ous did. So, I don't know if he vanity listens, but if he does, he's going to hear this. So.
In that case, I love you, Brooksy.
But no, maybe, so I want to talk about being a manager, right? So it's so different to everyone else we talk to. What's some of your influences, right? I mean, obviously you're a Bobby Heenan guy, I assume, because you said on commentary, I want to Heenan it up.
Yes, Bobby is what, and it doesn't annoy me, but it gets under my skin when people just go, "Oh, you're just like Paul Heyman." I love it. So I don't want to be Paul Heyman. I want to be Bobby.
See, Paul Heyman was my dude, man. The Dangerous Alliance.
Don't get me wrong. I love Paul Heyman. I think he's great. But
I like Paulie Dangerously more than Paul Heyman. But he's today. He's what people are seeing on TV. I don't want to be that. I don't want people to think that I'm. You don't want to be an advocate.
Well, no, I don't want to try and rip that. That was the hardest thing when I was coming out as to do the intro, because I used to do intros for Cree and all that and thing, and I was trying so hard to not be like a Paul Heyman type, but to try and get heat before a match, which is hard to do. I started doing rhyming intros like Joel Gertner.
Oh man, Joel Gertner.
But then I realized that was getting over. Crowds were starting to like it.
Start to pop for it, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, I can't do that anymore because they like it. I don't want that. And that, I had to talk to a rookie just last weekend at Venom Pro, and he's just like, he asked me, he's like, how do you go out there and you get heat? And I said, well, to be honest, the way I do it is I think of the people that really get under my skin and people that I hate, and I just try and do that. Right,
And this extends to everything with you, right? I know you've messaged me about your outfits and stuff.
Yes. Right?
Yes. You want to dress as douchey as possible. You're like, you sent me a picture one day and you were just like, would you want to punch a guy wearing this?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. It was so bad that I was at a show a couple of weeks ago and the kid in the crowd said, "I really like your shoes." And now I don't want to wear those shoes on shows.
Nice. So you're fully committed to this. Everything about me has to be despicable.
I don't like it. Yeah, I don't, unless I'm trying to be like a face manager, which is really fucking hard. That's harder than being a heel manager. A face manager is the worst because you're basically a cheerleader.
Yeah. But, that's why faces have valets and heels have managers, right? That's
right.
Traditionally.
For a while, Jake Nova and I have been trying to be like 20, a little bit 20 at AWA. And it's really hard, but we've sort of just embraced the fact that we're dirty cheats. And that's
Right.
sort of gotten us over as tweeners. So
Yeah,
it's like, look,
'cause you can be a dirty cheat that gets cheered though, right? Like Eddie Guerrero, lights on steel, and it gets over as a face shtick.
Yeah, that was the idea. The idea was like, look, we do cheat, but we're pretty good at it.
Yeah,
Let's face it, we've done fairly well cheating. Like I think we did
like
one
Yano.
promo where, I think we did one promo where they asked what the girl doing the interview, Jess, Lucy, sorry, asked me. She's like, "Well, what are you going to do?" So, well, I'll distract the ref, and Jake will probably hit him with the belt. We'll pin him.
It's just giving away the game plan.
Yeah, pretty much. But that's what we did, because it's like, well, they're gonna probably pop for that just because we're being stupid. Yeah, that's basically all it is when you're trying to be a face. But when I try to be a heel manager, it's like I try to find the worst things I can say to people in the crowd, the worst things I can not the worst things I can say to people in the crowd, but the worst things that are in a sort of a PG-ish environment that I can say to the crowd, that I can be the most. I don't want to be likable in any way, shape, or form. It sounds terrible, but I just don't. I don't want them to go, oh, he's a complete arsehole, but he's this. Do you know what I mean? I don't want them to say, I so hate this guy. I want to fucking kill him.
Yeah.
Like I think I showed you that video of that woman trying to get over the barrier to him.
Over the guardrail. Yeah.
Yeah. To me, that was the best thing ever.
My favorite of your videos is the one where you get the drunk man ejected.
Oh yeah, but that was
everyone off.
But that was a real life thing, and like it turned his face for that night. I'm like, wow, that's shit, isn't it?
So good, so good. But no, look, with managing though, this is something I wanted to ask you. So I mean, at the moment you're with Jake Nova, right? Is it harder to get bookings? So like interstate, for example. Is it harder to get bookings as an act with them? Because essentially they've got to pay for 2 flights. They've got to pay 2 booking fees. Does it make it harder for him to get bookings? Does it make it harder for you to... Can you like lend yourself out as a manager and just be like, put me with any one of you guys in your Fed, bring me down on my own? Or do you have to come as a doubles act? How does it work?
Well, Jake doesn't really like traveling.
Oh, there, problem solved.
Which kind of puts a crimp in our plans, really. But no, I would love to. I'd love to go to a Victorian Fed or a New South Wales Fed, or even back down to Adelaide and then do a show or two as a manager, because that's kind of what I want to do. You want to spread your wings and see. I want to see if I can get the same sort of the heat that I used to get in Adelaide and like get up here. I want to know if I can do that in Sydney. Exactly. Yeah, I want to see if I can do that in those areas. But it is really, for a manager, it's really hard because basically they're paying for a mouthpiece and they're paying for a guy to stand outside, really. Yeah. And it's really hard to do. And it's like it. To be honest, you don't get if you don't get seen very much, you don't get asked. So, and that's the thing. And that's the thing is it's hard.
And we want to bring back managers, man. I'm on board this train. Bring back managers to wrestling.
Yeah, like, I think so.
I'm hoping AEW do it because they're doing that thing now where they've got Sean Spears is being managed by Tully, right?
Yes. Oh, that's so good to me. I love Tully.
So
I'm a Horseman geek, so
yeah.
Like seeing Tully back, I'm like, yes. But I think managers. The thing is that I think anyway is that it saves and it trickles down from the WWE. The WWE don't have managers anymore, therefore a lot of independent promotions want to look as much like the WWE as possible, so they don't want managers too much. And if they if they can teach the wrestler to talk, why do they need a manager? I think the idea that they're going with it.
Well, it adds an extra layer to potential storytelling, though. Yeah,
exactly, and it helps. Like I like to think that I try, and some guys who aren't all that good on the mic, I think I enhance them.
Yeah,
and with Jake's okay. Jake's okay on the mic, but he's not all that good at getting heat on the mic.
Right.
Whereas I will do that. I'll do that for him. I'll do that for all the guys that I like, all the next level guys. That's what I like doing for them. I like talking them up. and
Yeah.
I hardly ever talk myself up.
Well,
I always
'cause you're
talk them up.
with Xander as well now, right? Xander Sullivan,
Yes,
and he's
yeah.
a likable dude.
You know.
He's got this massive fucking grin on his face. He's
Yeah.
like it's hard to hate that guy. I don't know.
Yeah, but the problem with Xander is, and I love Xander, but he never says anything in 3 words where 100 will fit.
Right. Yeah. That's why it was so great interviewing him.
Yeah. So you would have loved it. But there's a game that Jackson Cross and I play where he'll say, like, Xander will say something, and we try to make what he said in as little words as possible. Like he'll be like something like I'm really upset about this situation, and it's just really vexing me at the moment. I just don't know what to do. I'm like, Xander angry really wants to solve it. For a while, we toyed around doing that as promos, but we figured it might hurt his feelings after a while, so we didn't do it.
Lean into it, Xander. Lean into it.
Yeah, we did with the forehead.
Yeah, well, that's it, right? And like the forehead is concealing a brain that has many words.
That's right. But he did one of the smartest things, I think, that I've seen in a long time. Where I don't know if you saw it, you probably did, that viral video when he accidentally jumped into the ceiling fan.
Yeah, and he made a shirt out of it.
He made a shirt out of it. If that's not carny as, I don't know anything that is in this sport.
It's so good. It's so good. So you've got your guys, right? So like Heenan had his family. You have your guys. Who are your guys at the moment? And because you've moved, obviously, you're not down here anymore. You're up in Queensland. We should talk about Queensland itself in a second. But who are your guys at the moment?
At the moment, across the 3 feds I work for up here, is Jackson Cross, JL Gold, Xander Sullivan, and Jake Nova. Jake's the guy that I manage everywhere. We're pretty much like
so everywhere. That's Venom,
AWA Pro Wrestling League. It's the 3 of it, the 2 of us there, and that's because like Jake and I just get along. That's just like he's probably one of my best friends up here now. He's the closest thing to managing Cree is what I've ever had.
Right.
Like Cree, when Chris Basso and I used to work together, we had a good little thing where like he would look at me and I'd know what spot he'd want us to do.
Right.
And Jake and I are sort of the same way now. And I think it's because we think a lot.
Married telepathy.
Yeah, exactly. We think a lot. We think a lot along a lot of the same lines. And even when we're talking about matches and match ideas and stuff, we'll have an argument about something. But at the end of the day, when we decide what we're going to go with, it normally always works for us, which is a good thing to have. You don't get angry at each other. Go, oh shit, whatever works best, we'll do. Yeah.
And so how is that, like, as a manager, like, figuring out how best to interact in the match and stuff? Like, when the wrestlers are planning their match, do you get actively involved, or are you sort of just on the edges and being like, you know, like, and let them feed you the spots? How do you work all that?
It depends on it. Yeah, it depends on who it is. Like with Jake, half the time, sometimes if Jake's running late, he'll just go, you can just plan the match, man. Just let me know what it is. No, you're the wrestler. And a lot of the times, if it's an AWA show, I'm so busy at those shows that
you're wearing a promoter hat now too, or booker.
A booker.
Yeah, it's not your money.
No, it's not my money. Thank God.
That's the best spot to be in.
yeah. But like half the time, I'll say, look, just work out what you guys are doing and tell me my spots.
Right.
And a lot of the time, it's like a lot of the stuff that happens just happens spur of the moment with the stuff that we do. Anyway, so it's not really a matter of having to be in there and a lot of stuff. But there will be some things where we'll watch. I'll be watching them put the match together or something, and I'll say, I was thinking about this idea. How does this fit? Is this possible to actually do? And I'll suggest it. And the one that I told you, remember when I told you the Rainmaker into the.
Yeah.
And then
the one that Will Ospreay stole.
Exactly. I would contend that to this day. There's no possible way he could have seen it.
The Spanish Fly, right?
Yeah. There's no way he could have seen it before, but I'm sure he did.
It was on Twitter, right?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Someone tweeted it.
Yeah, but just stuff like that, and The one thing I'm not too bad at, I don't like to toot my own horn at all. The one thing I'm not too bad at is coming up with finishes.
Mm.
That's one thing I do really enjoy because I know I like being able to play with the emotions of a crowd.
Yeah.
That to me, that's wrestling to me. It's like the storytelling is that's the meat and potatoes of a whole show.
So you're the Arn.
Well,
Wasn't Arn the finisher guy?
Yeah, don't say that. That's great. Makes my head huge when you say that. Arn Anderson is my favorite wrestler, hands down.
Yeah.
So,
there you go. Because
yeah.
I know, like, as an agent, he has a reputation as the finish guy. Like, if anyone doesn't know, like, if they're stuck on a finish or whatever, they go to Arn to work out the finish. That's what I've heard anyway. Read it. I can't remember where, but
yeah. But I'm I'm a massive wrestling nerd. Like a massive, like I've watched.
We all
like,
are, man. We're a wrestling podcast.
Yeah, but like I've watched, like my favorite wrestling is 80s NWA stuff, and some of their finishes amazing. And if I can rip one of those finishes off, I'll do it in a heartbeat because half the time the crowd have never seen that finish before.
Yeah. See, I like the New Japan finish style, right? Trying to get out of each other's finishes constantly, like constant reversals. Like it's real frantic towards the end of a match. That's the finish. Like I get into that so hard.
I like those finishes, and I like the finishes if we can make you believe with all of your heart that the babyface is about to go over, and then we screw that babyface out of the win.
Yeah,
that is, oh my lord, that's a perfectly cooked steak.
You were at the MCW show, right? Before.
Yes.
So when Seb pulls the ref out right as Gino taps.
Yes.
And the place erupted in a cheer because we all saw him tap, and then we all realized the referee didn't see it.
Yes.
And then it just switches on a dime to like the most intense. People wanted to kill that man heat. It was great.
Yes. Well, my favorite finish that I've ever seen was one that Chris Basso came up with, and this was when I was managing Brooksy and Nick Armstrong was going for the title. Nick Armstrong was the biggest baby face going. They absolutely loved him.
Wait, Armstrong worked babyface?
Yes. Oh, Armstrong.
When was this?
This is ages ago. Oh, God, I can't believe he didn't. The Armstrong brothers were so loved. And Nick especially. Nick was, they loved him. And we did this whole finish.
So this was probably before my time then.
More than likely, yeah.
Yeah.
We did this finish where right near the finish, I threw Brooksy a chain. And Brooksy wrapped it around his wrist and punched Nick with him, puts the chain in Nick's tights, covers him for the pin. Referee comes to, goes for the pin. 1, 2, kick out. Oh my God! A couple of minutes later, they go through their spots. A couple of minutes later, ref gets slightly hit again, takes the bump. Wrestle. Armstrong cutter, pin. 1, 2, 3. Crowd loses their shit. Absolutely. Right. New RCW champion, Nick Armstrong. We even let him announce it and hold his hand up. Meanwhile, I'm in the ring looking at Brooksy, telling Brooksy to point to your head, point to his head. I turn around to the ref and go, he hit him with a chain, ref. Check his tights. He hit him with the chain. Referee, of course, checks Nick's tights, finds the chain in there that Brooksy had put in there. You've used it. I'm reversing the decision. Give the belt back to Brooksy.
Oh, wow.
That crowd wanted to lynch us.
Yeah, they would. They would. The Riot City wrestling crowd as well. They believe it, man.
Oh,
they go for the ride, dude.
Yeah.
So, I think Adelaide is one of those towns where Sydney and Melbourne. It's like a bit. Well, depending on the company, but it's like a bit of a smarter wrestling crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that people who go to wrestling shows in Adelaide are dumb. I'm one of them. But what I mean is, it's like they fully lean into it, and they're just like, yeah, no, we hate these people, we like these people, and it's real to them for those 2.5 hours.
Oh yeah, and sometimes even after. I remember we went to a Rampage show when they did the Sundays.
Yeah,
did some Sunday shows, And I think Cree and I just went to watch a show. I think we went with a couple others like Maddie and all that, and we're just sitting there watching it. And in during the Inter, Brad Smythe and I were getting a beer together. And at that time, Brad was a baby face and I was big bad heel manager. And this kid walks up and sort of looks at me, looks at Brad, looks back at me, and had this look on his face like, oh no, Brad's turning heel.
Why are you hanging out with him?
Yeah, it's pretty much what it was like.
How could you?
It's like he turned without saying a word and walked away. And I looked at Brad and said, I think we just killed that kid. We blew his mind.
That kid just found out Santa's not real.
Yeah. But no, but that's good. I'd rather have a crowd like that than an overly smart crowd.
Well, I think an overly smart crowd, like it's just another set of people to learn how to work.
Yeah,
they can still be worked, you know.
Yeah, they can definitely still be worked. It's just that they're not. A lot of the times they don't want to come along for the ride.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? They're trying to find what's wrong.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes, like I don't know, there's like a perfect level of smart crowd, like because like the PWA crowd, they go along for the ride.
Yes,
you know what I mean.
Yes.
Like they're fully invested. They're like, okay, we're gonna cheer the guys that we're meant to cheer. Like Matty Wahlberg got over, but they didn't actually actively cheer Matty Wahlberg until that 21st Century Success Story shtick that he did in the lead up to Caveman Ugg, and I'm pretty sure that was designed specifically to start turning him face, right?
Yeah.
But now that he's being a dick again, they're back on the boo train. It's pretty. Yeah, like the PWA crowd seem to go along for the ride.
Yeah.
There's like a level where.
Yeah, I'm not saying like I don't mind. Like I'm probably a smark, but I'll watch a show and yeah, exactly.
I've heard you talk about wrestling.
Yeah.
You're basically, actually, no, you're more Jim Cornette than
Yeah, I really am. but if I go to a show, I'll sit there and I will go along for the ride, and I will see what I will want, because I want to know what the story they're trying to tell.
Yeah,
I'm not going to be there halfway through the show going, well, that's shit. Do you know what I mean? I won't do that because I know how much hard work goes into putting a show together.
Yeah,
and for that,
ripping on booking decisions like mid show is kind of that frustrates me. People
I hate when they do it mid angle. Like, wait to see where we're going.
Yeah, let it pay off.
Yeah,
let it pay off.
Yeah.
Well, I say that with WWE too. Like people shit on things like before it has a chance to actually become anything. Like the Mike and Maria thing.
Yeah. Well, even this 24/7 title that people are, it's not meant to be a fucking serious title, you nongs.
I love the 24/7. The 24/7 title is one of the only things in WWE I care about right now.
It's brilliant. It's like it's a complete rip off of that super. What was it? The heavy metalweight title.
Super open heavy metalweight. Yeah, indeed. Yeah. Well, it's. I mean, they did it with the hardcore title in the Attitude Era too.
Exactly, but now they're leaning into the comedy part of it, which is great. That's what.
Yeah.
Like the show needs certain parts. They can't all be fucking uber serious New Japan super fucking arm drags.
Someone on the Australian wrestling community group, and I was just like, man, it's okay to laugh.
Yeah.
It's okay to have a laugh about some things, like the whole I'm pregnant, therefore you can't pin me. Like it's great.
Oh, that's it's fucking brilliant. I'd love that.
It's so good. Anyway, we're getting sidetracked.
Yes.
You moved to Queensland. What led to the move? Was that a personal life thing, or were you like, I'm going to make Queensland wrestling great again?
It was very much to you.
Can you put the hat on, please? Because I'm here for that gimmick.
What was the last bit? The hat?
Did you move there to make Queensland wrestling great again?
Yeah, no.
Get the Trump hat going.
Yeah, no, it was a work thing. My wife had got a promotion, and they moved their head offices from Adelaide up to Brisbane, and it was sort of the fact that like it was either you come with us up here or we don't have a job for you. And I was at the time that they said we'll give your husband a job too. And at the time I'd been at where I'd been working for 14 years. I'm like, well, I'm over it. So if you want to do this, let's do it. The only thing that I was half upset about was I was literally like thanks for picking the only state in wrestling where it's like wrestling purgatory.
Well,
At the time.
you could have gone to the Northern Territory.
Well, that's very true. That's very true. I would rather no reputation at all, though, than the reputation that had been when I moved up. Was it now?
Right. And well, Pro Wrestling Darwin are putting the right foot forward.
Exactly.
Too with
Yeah.
So yeah, starting with no reputation probably is better. But yeah, so Queensland Wrestling, you touched on it. Reputation. At risk of going over time here, let's talk about Queensland Wrestling.
Yeah. Look, when I first came up, I was that full on smarky, like, this is going to be shit. I can't believe that I'm up here. Fuck,
Yeah.
what have I fucking, this is terrible. I might as well just give up and not do wrestling anymore because I don't want to be involved in what I hear is going on in Queensland.
Well, I can assume that a lot of people listening are familiar with the letters AV.
Yes.
So I can assume that you would have been familiar with that reputation for Queensland.
Exactly. But then there were guys up here like Chris Dalgleish, who at the time was running Pacific Pro Wrestling.
Right.
And I knew him through Wrestle Radio Australia, so I just went to one of his shows. But I think because Kellyanne was on the show, and Kel and I had been mates for years. So it's like, I'll come up and check the show out. And there was a sort of double-edged thing. I get to check the show out and I get to hang out with my friend Kel. So I saw that, and I saw so much like young talent up here that just needed that little extra something to be great. They had everything that it needs to be good, but they just didn't have the presentation, I think, is more what it was. Because it was very much like they were in a PCYC, or I think it was a school gym. It was all heavy, no real production, whereas it comes to like walking out and all that sort of stuff. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It was basically just all the lights are on, play someone's music and come out, and that was it. That was the whole thing.
Out from behind a poster board.
Yeah. So, but the talent was there in the ring. The talent was there. The guys like Renegade and Tim Cade and JL Gold and stuff like that. All the talent was there. They just needed Alex Shepard and
Just needed to be shaped.
And there still is so much potential up here with these guys. And I'm so glad that like some of them now are starting to actually get out there and travel, because they're getting a better name than what was up. The reputation of Queensland, I think, is getting a lot better than what it was a few years ago. So.
For sure. You know who I'm a big fan of up there? I mean, obviously, I'm a big fan of Xander, JL Gold. I'm a fan of your guys there. But Adonis. And Adonis has been going down to New South Wales. I think he did AWF, maybe Wrestling Go as well. Big fan of Adonis. Yes. That dude is hilarious.
He will never be on my podcast. No. Okay.
Is it because he did mine first? Is that why?
What was that?
Is it because he did mine first? Is that what?
That by the way, that rib we played on him was perfection.
I'll tell you what, though. That's another thing, too, is I'm just like, he's a stand-up dude. Because when I asked him if he wants to come on the show to do a podcast with me, he shoots you a message first. And he's just like, hey, man, is it all right if I... like? And just that like, it's important, man. It's important to be loyal. It's important to... I don't know. That just took him next level to me. I was just like, this Adonis kid.
Yeah. It is also...
And Tim Cade as well. Tim Cade has one of the best fucking looks in Australian wrestling.
He does. But there are certain things about Timmy that's he's not very good at playing politics. So, and I think that's hurt him so much.
I would probably like him.
Yeah, amazing wrestler. But yeah. The thing is too, up here, I'm sort of like everyone's dad. If you know what I mean.
Wrestle dad.
Yeah, well, that's pretty much what they call me. I'm wrestle dad. So like I'm happy to, because that's all I really want, because I know that I have no real future in wrestling at all. Like any idea of making a career out of it is just, that's stupid for me. My age and also what I do in the ring is just
that attitude.
Well, yeah, no, I suppose Stokely Hathaway got signed. You never know.
They're going to set up a performance center here one day. There's always a chance.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true. But my main goal when I started up here was just to get these guys where they can get interstate bookings, where they can have good names and just have good places to work. Because that was the biggest thing. There was a lot of places to work up here. Not a lot of them were very good.
Right.
And now you've got places like Pro Wrestling League. You've got AWA that Jesse runs, and Jesse's been so amazing with like letting me have the book, because a lot of the times before, not a lot of people will put like a shitload of their own money into something and go, I want you to do it. You can, let's run with your ideas. You're the booker. You're a lot of time. And I think it took a long time for Jesse to do that, to realize that he can't be everywhere doing everything, and that maybe letting someone else do that part of it is good for him, or good for the company. And I hope what I'm doing is good for the company. But yeah, there's that now. There's Venom's a good place to work. Young guys down Gold Coast on IPW, they're training. Like a lot of the young guys coming out of there, like Jamie Zeke Andino, Jesse Love, who was one of the next level guys from he was a guy that the first time I saw him, I was like, I want to work with that kid because he looks amazing and has so much potential.
Yeah.
But yeah, Zeke is amazing as well. He's got a bucket loads of potential out there. You've got UPW with EC Diamond. EC Diamond is amazing. He's
another one that I'm keeping.
Yeah, well, he goes to OVW really soon to train for 4 months and then come back.
Oh, right. Like Al Snow, because Al Snow took over OVW,
yeah,
right?
exactly. So he's going there to train really soon. And I expect when he comes back, he'll be head and shoulders above what he already is now. And he already is an amazing worker. I'm such a fan of the stuff he does, because he just has – there are certain people that have it where you don't have to do much and the crowd already like you, or the crowd already – like Renegade. Renegade is the same. He doesn't really have to do much, but the crowd just instantly – they're drawn to him and they like him. Just that luck.
Yeah, there's something there.
Exactly. And EC Diamond's got that same thing where he walks out there and he just has that look. And it's that look where you're like, that kid's money. He's going to make some money.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's a whole mess of them, like Jackson Cross. Like the people, I'm going to miss a lot of people, but like everyone I work with I'm a fan of.
If that was your goal, though, to get it to a point where people are sort of, are at that level where they're able to go into state and things are able to grow in that way. You've smashed that goal. Now it's time to set a new goal.
Well, that is the new goal is now to get them on, like the PWAs, the Newcastle Pros, the MCWs, right, that sort of thing, to really get there. The problem is that unfortunately, unless you're from a Melbourne or a Sydney, that a lot of the people don't know you around the country. Because and that's what I'd love to change. I'd love to get some of the people to see some of these guys. Like we've got a new guy, a rookie called Outback Adam, and his stuff already is great. He needs to work on his in-ring, because that's, of course, everyone should be working on their in-ring. But there are plenty of guys up here now in Queensland who they'll take a week off work or something and go down to PWA and train for a week. And there's a few of them now that are doing that on the.
I'm seeing that a lot. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of people doing that, like from all over.
Yeah, there are guys like, I know Bobby Bishop is cutting some of his bookings up here so he can go down and train more.
Yeah, which is a good idea. It's a good idea. So that's heaps.
Because he hit me up to ask him about it. I said, mate, you're going to learn a lot more from training down there than you will from working a show.
Yeah, look, Royce Chambers just did that. He flew himself up to Sydney and trained with PWA, and he ended up on the new Pro show, right? Like the last one that streamed live on Overplay, and he fucking impressed.
Well, that's the thing. Like, if I was an active young guy wanting to wrestle, I would be doing as many seminars as I could with as many different people as I could. If I had a spare week where I had a holiday or something, I'd be booking that holiday in somewhere like Adelaide. If I was up here where there's not a hell of a lot of like training facilities, I would be booking a holiday down in Adelaide and hitting up Rampage or hitting up RC Dub for the academy or for the dojo and seeing if I could do a week there. You know, if I was in Melbourne, I'd be hitting up MC Dub and seeing if I could go to their academy for a week or so. I'd want to learn as much possible things. And I always say this to the guys, you need as many tools in your toolbox as possible to help you succeed. And that's the name of the game, is to learn as much so you can do as much and be as valuable as you possibly can to every booker around the country that if I need a guy that can do this well, I know he can do that because like he's trained here, he's trained there, he's done this, he's done that.
Yeah. See, if you're a show-ready wrestler listening to this, or like almost show, if you're a rookie wrestler, like that first year or two wrestler listening to this, the big advice probably is go train at MCW Academy for a week, go to PWA Academy for a week, go to EPW Academy for a week, go to Rampage Dojo for a week, or RCW Academy for a week. Everywhere.
Train there.
Learn every. Here in Adelaide, you got the RCW shows, and it's a far more WWE style product, and then you've got Rampage Dojo, and it's far more Japanese inspired and sort of high spot indie kind of stuff, right? Like, and so like even within one state, you've got these two world class training.
Programs. You're going to learn something everywhere. You're going to learn something everywhere from everybody. That's just the thing. There's always plenty people can learn from every different type of training, and it mightn't be the way you do it, or it mightn't be the way that the guy that you originally trained by told you to do it, but maybe it's a way that works better for you, or maybe you get better reactions from it. The one thing I hate is when I hear about training academies where they tell their students you don't need to do seminars anywhere because you'll learn all you need to know here, because that's just not true. It's true. It's not true.
Anyone who tells you I have all the information you will ever need, do not trust that person. Like in any part of life, like just don't do that. But look, man, we got to wrap it up. I think considering we went in without any plan whatsoever, I feel like we've filled some solid time here. What did you want to plug though? You want to talk about AWA Homecoming? You got a huge show that I know you.
Yes, we have the biggest show in I can't remember how long in Queensland. We have such. There's so many.
It's your mania.
It is our mania, mate. It is our mania. We have so many like big matches and so much talent coming in as well. I can't remember a time where we've had this many people we've actually brought in for shows, and some of them were just merely because of happenstance. We had to sort of do something because originally we did have it was going to be Kellyanne up against Aya Rain. And and unfortunately, Aya had torn her MCL. So we'd already had Kelly booked and her flights were paid and all that sort of thing. So we needed someone else. Who do we get? Do you know who I'd really love to get? Jessica Troy. And we happened to get her. So like Kellyanne and Jessica Troy at Wrestling Go was like hands down men, women, dogs. I don't care what you're talking about. Was one of the best matches of the year so far. And for us to be able to show that to people up here, that to me, I'm amazed that I'm able to do that.
What's the attitude amongst Queensland wrestling fans towards women's wrestling in general? This is something I don't know.
It's hard because there aren't too many women wrestlers up here. There's not a hell of a lot of them. And it's a real thing, and it's hard too to get girls to work. You know what I mean? You get a girl that's trained up and she's ready to go. We just don't have anyone from the verse to face. And for the longest time with Aya, we were working around it by just having her work guys, and it's fine. So you work the right guys, and they're fine. She had a really good match with Mitch McCarthy at Mayhem up here at AWA. Aya, by the way, that was. We've got a couple of girls that are in training at AWA, and then they've been going down to PWA training, and you're not going to get better training than doing that a lot. So, and I think they're nearly ready to debut soon. So, but like they're a very good crowd when it comes to accepting women's wrestling. So we've got AJ Istria taking on Gino Gambino. That's going to be amazing. So, and I know AJ's. Well,
is that a first time?
I don't know if it's the first time or not. I just know like AJ is originally from up here, so he loves being able to come up here. And
I feel like Gino said it's a first time. So let's call it first time.
Okay, we will. There you go. First time ever. We've got that. So that again will be an amazing match. Yeah, we've got the Homecoming Cup, which is a battle royal, and I don't even know how many people are in it, man. We just keep adding people. So who knows how many people are actually going to walk out on the night? People from the crowd might just
don't give a number, and that way you
That's exactly right. Exactly right. It got to the point now where we're in a booking meeting, and with one of the agents, I said, "Look, can you handle the Homecoming Cup, because there are more people than that are on the rest of the card, and I just can't be." We've got that. We've got the semi-finals and the finals of the openweight championship, which you've seen the belt. I love that belt. It's my baby.
It's a belt. I'm quite
Yes,
happy with it.
and the people we've got in that alone is some of the best guys from around here, past and present, and also with Adam Brooks also being in that tournament, one of the best around the world. I'm just going to say it. He's one of the best wrestlers in the world. Just unseen. Yeah. So we've got him, Xander Sullivan, J.L. Gold, Sebastian Matters, Mitch McCarthy, and Zeke Andino as well, because Zeke had such a good match against Tim Cade a couple of months ago at AWA Grindhouse that I was like, look, we want to give this kid a chance because he's got something. And like I've told you before, off air and on here, I want to give guys as much chance as I can to make them shine. And so that's how he got that spot in the tournament. What else have we got on the card? There's so much. The tag titles, Bobby Bishop and Rip Riley, the Retro Bros, will be defending against Divine Darkness. Your boy Adonis and his tag team partner Sorrow. That will be a good match. And the main event is Humanity, Jesse Daniels, my boy Jake Nova, and Tim Cade in a ladder match for the AWA Championship. Jake's had the title for, it would be going on nearly 500 days. So it's been a massive reign to the point where, like, this is his second homecoming he's walking in as champion. So it's going to be a massive, massive main event. And it's going to have to be to follow what's on the rest of that card. And that's what I've said to him. Like, I constantly say in shows beforehand, like, you have to follow what's coming up before you. So step up your game. This is what I want everyone, not just in AWA, I want everyone in Queensland, period, to step their game up. I want them to raise it to a level where it's undeniable that they're good. And that's just what I want. I want people to actually respect Queensland wrestling.
Right, because it was once. There was a period in time, was it PWA? Had PWA Queensland up there?
Yeah, PWAC.
PWAC, yeah. But, I hope we get there. And obviously, AWA Homecoming, biggest show of the year. When does it go down? And then where can people find you and Wrestle Radio Australia, which we didn't even talk about? And
who wants to talk about that?
Give us all the plugs, and then we'll go home.
August 10th is Homecoming. It is at the Kedron Wavell Services Club. Just go to AWA, Australian Wrestling Alliance, on Facebook, and there'll be ticket links everywhere plastered all over it for that one. But get in there. I think ringside has already sold out, and the second row is pretty much already sold as well. But plenty of good seats in that. It's a big arena. So we got 400 in there last year. We're hoping to do 500 this year, but you never know. It's hard. It's so hard. Booking is so hard. There's that. Follow us on there. I am at Beast Eastman on Twitter and Facebook. I think I'm Toddy033, or just Wrestle Radio Australia. Just search out Wrestle Radio Australia everywhere. I'm usually on there somewhere doing something when I'm not completely depressed and sitting at home in a wallow.
Yeah.
I'm selling myself so well.
Yeah, doing a great job. But yeah, so thanks a lot for coming on the show, man. And and I know that you've been having a rough couple of weeks as well, as have I. And I hope maybe it's something with the stars and stuff. Is Mercury in retrograde? That's a thing.
I don't know. I think it's because I've actually been throwing myself so much into just the booking and all of that sort of stuff that literally I'm taking a week off holidays after like Homecoming.
Yeah.
So I can just relax.
That's why I've had a bit of a break lately, and it's helped. But I am into astrology, and a lot of planets are in retrograde at the moment. So we can always blame the stars if we want to.
Okay. I have no idea what that means, but I'll go along with it.
Go with it.
All right.
Excuse.
Yeah. Yeah. Why are you so depressed? Oh, it's a retrograde thing, mate. You wouldn't understand.
Yeah, the planets are all slowing down. It looks like they're going backwards. Just it sucks, man.
Oh, my Lord. If anyone's still listening to this, they're like, holy shit. Get with Brooksy already, for fuck's sake.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
So there you have it. the loose ledge, the greatest ledge of all time, Adam Brooks, also formerly known as the loosest cunt in Australian professional wrestling, as we talked about with Todd Eastman, the beast from the East, the host of Wrestle Radio Australia, manager extraordinaire. Thanks so much for coming on the show, guys. It's been a really good. I really enjoyed listening to that chat with Adam Brooks. I really enjoyed having that chat with Todd Eastman. It's really helped bring me out of a bit of a funk. It's a good time. A good time for me here. So I'm very thankful to Toddy for coming on the show. And if you like that interview and you like other Aussie Grappler interviews, you can hear Mick Moretti, the Grinning Dragon himself, on the Turnbuckle this week with our good friends over at On the Turnbuckle. We also had Gino Gambino stop by the Top Rope podcast. So definitely worth going out and having a listen to those. As for shows happening near you this weekend, I have been a little bit slack. My calendar is running behind. I know PCW and NAW both have shows in Victoria this week. We also have Suplex, FWA, Wrestling Go, IWA, all with shows in Sydney. We also here in Adelaide, Riot City Wrestling have one of their live at the Academy shows. So definitely, if you are interested, get on the Facebook, get onto their pages and check out the information for those shows and get around it. That's what it's all about here, supporting the boys and girls of Australian wrestling. Cheer the good guys, boo the bad guys, buy a shirt. You know what to do. And if you want to support us here, big shout out to everyone, by the way. We had some issues financially and we struggled with our hosting for the bplus.com, and we've gotten back on top of it thanks to a GoFundMe. Big thank you, big special thank you to everyone who donated to the GoFundMe. You can also support us through Patreon or by checking out our advertisers and sponsors who you would have heard between those two interviews. That's the best way to support us, of course. Follow us on social media. I am Greg Unchained on Twitter, at the Greg Unchained on Instagram. We collectively are the B Plus Wrestle on Twitter because wrestling wouldn't fit. The B Plus Wrestling everywhere else. Like, share, subscribe, 5-star review if you like what we do. And thank you so much for listening.